Hey guys, it's Derek and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I wanted to just talk to you guys really briefly about my thoughts on kids going back to school. Now, if you're a parent like us, it's been a very tough couple of months or 3 months here in Sydney where the kids have been doing all of their education online. And as of Monday, every kid in New South Wales is going back to school. Now, some kids already started last week and they're Year 1, Year 2 and Year 12. But literally everybody's going back. And I just wanted to be historically correct and come on here on the eve of our kids going back to school and just to share my opinion. And hopefully if any of this helps you make a decision as to whether you're going to send your kids back to school, this video has done its job. I just wanted to start off by saying that this is not a video that's been created in order to judge anybody. It's just hopefully to help you make your own informed decision. I'd love to hear comments. There will be zero tolerance for anyone who is going to be trolling or leaving nasty remarks, because I just wanted to make this a safe community where we can discuss things and respect each other's opinions. So let's go. So the reason that this video even exists is the fact that, as we all know, we are right in the middle of a global pandemic, and we have seen the experience of schools opening in other countries, and by and large most of the kids have been safe, but there have been a lot of kids getting infected once the schools have gone back. And I know that situations are different, every country is different, the methodology is different, but I see no reason why, as a person living in Australia, why in general our reopening of everything is going to be any different to any other country who's attempted the same thing. And I think it's important that we learn from what they've done and what has worked well and what hasn't. And that's going to put us in the greatest position where we can get back to things safely. People who I've spoken to in the past know that I've not 100% agreed with the ways things have gone in New South Wales over the recent months in terms of decisions that have been made on behalf of its citizens. And I'm speaking about that not only from an individual point of view, but also from a family point of view and also as a healthcare professional point of view. Those decisions have been made now and we have no control over those decisions. But the one thing we do have control over is our ability to make our own decisions and decide what is safe for us and our family. And I think that despite all the flack that one might cop, despite all the negativity and opinion and criticism and all this kind of stuff that is inevitably going to come if you buck the trend, I think it's important that we make the right decision to what we think is going to be safe in this situation for our kids. Now, first of all, there are two boats we're talking about. We're talking about, number one, kids who are over the age of 12 who are eligible to be vaccinated. And from that point of view, I don't see a huge issue with them going back to school. Yes, they're going to become more exposed to the virus. They're going to be more likely to get it. But at least being vaccinated, they have a fighting chance. And it just puts them on an even playing field to every single adult who has chosen to be vaccinated. Yes, I agree, you can't hide forever. You have to return to your normal life at some point. But the whole thing is that these kids are able to get vaccinated. So whatever other risk mitigation practices go on in school, at least they've made it, they've got that extra level of protection. The thing is, in life, you can't rely on everybody to do the right thing. And I have no issue with anti-vaxxers and those who don't believe in this whole pandemic, except for the fact that I respect the opinion of everyone, whether I agree with it or not. But I just wanted to quickly say that if you choose not to get the vaccine, number one, it's your choice and you have given your informed consent to deny yourself having the vaccine, but at least you've been offered the opportunity to get it. And all I can say is if you choose not to get vaccine, I think you should make the effort of not trying to infect everyone else around you, because there are a lot of people who are vulnerable in this society and there are a lot of people who are not eligible for the vaccine even though they want it. So that's it. I'm not going to talk any more about that because that's not the point of this video. What we're talking about otherwise are children under the age of 12 who are currently ineligible for any vaccination of any sort. And I'm hoping that in the near future, because it sounds like they're moving a little bit towards that in the US, that they will approve vaccinations for under 12s here in Australia sometime soon. And that begs the argument is that they've been off school for 12 weeks now and there's approximately 8 weeks left of the academic year. Why is it not prudent to just continue online learning for the duration of this year, get all our kids vaccinated over the course of the summer holidays and start afresh in 2022? That would seem to me to be the logical way to try and minimize any damage. The government's decided to open everything and they're talking about how important it is for the kids to get back to school and get back to socialization and all that kind of stuff. If they were so important, perhaps they should have opened the schools before they let the virus run rampant in society by opening pubs and nightclubs. But that's just my 2 cents on that. What we have to consider above anything else is that every child and every family has a unique situation. There are, yes, some kids who thrive on social interaction, who only do well when they get face-to-face learning. But on the other end of the spectrum, there are kids who are quite comfortable doing this online thing. They're actually really scared of going back to school for one reason or the other. And there are kids, despite what everyone says, and despite the fact that the department is painting unicorns and rainbows and fairies for everything, there are kids who are actually afraid to go to school and catch COVID. And then there are kids who are immunocompromised, who have bad respiratory histories, bad asthma and so forth, who are illegible right now to get vaccinated, and you're shoving them back into general society when they're not ready to do so, and you're saying everything's going to be okay because the teachers are vaccinated. I'm not sure that that argument's going to hold well, because yes, the teachers will be vaccinated, but there'll be no kid in primary school who's vaccinated. We cannot rely on the behavior of everyone else, as I said in the past. You don't know where these kids are going to go. Some of them are catching trains, some of them are with families who are also unvaccinated. There's lots of other variables, and if they bring the virus into schools and you've got very vulnerable, potentially unwell children with poor immune systems, it's not going to end well, is it? Everyone seems to be towing that political line of trying to make everything bubbly and optimistic, which is good because we don't need to scare our kids, but we also need to be realistic. And in that sense, realistically, primary school kids aren't going to social distance, they aren't going to wear masks, and they aren't going to behave themselves in a way where you can rely on them to do what is supposedly the practices that are going to reduce the risk of transmission in schools. And the handful of teachers I've spoken to, just as a side, under other circumstances, they all seem to toe the same line where kids need to go back to school. I'm really looking forward to getting back to school, but their eyes don't reflect that fact at all. And I think that they're just saying what they think they need to say, and that's probably what they've been told to say by the department, and I think that's wrong. Kids need to know the truth. Kids aren't dumb. We need to start giving kids the credit they deserve. They're not silly. Kids know that adults are concerned because they can see it in the adults' behavior. They can see the fact that adults are talking about it. They can see them watching it on the news. They hear it from their friends. They see people walking around in masks, and they know that there's been a lockdown. So they're not silly. They know that there's something dangerous and bad going on out there, and we need to concentrate on telling them the truth rather than trying to blow sunshine up their asses, because that's what some people are tending to do and saying everything is fine. Yes, the studies do show that kids don't get as sick as adults in general, but kids do still get sick. Kids do end up in hospital, kids do end up in intensive care on ventilators, and kids do die. And we need to give everybody the opportunity, I believe, to protect themselves the best as they can. And in this situation, just like with adults, the best form of protection is a combination of vaccination, face masks, social distancing. It just feels like that right now we're allowing the 5 to 12-year-old kids to just be sitting ducks at school. We're forcing them to go somewhere where it may or may not be appropriate, and history will tell, but without giving them the option to get vaccinated first. And this is the thing that annoys me the most. They talk about how important schooling is. They've done 12 weeks of online schooling, and basically the Zooms are really good, but the fact that we're just downloading stuff off the internet, where the kids are just doing worksheets that anybody can download, kind of makes it a little bit of a mockery of that situation. And they're going to bring them back to school in a really stressful environment for the sake of 8 weeks, where you could definitely wait until they get vaccinated and have everybody safe. And I know that a lot of people aren't going to agree with me. And all I'm saying is that parents should have the option of continuing online learning until the kids have the opportunity to get vaccinated. I'm very much for the kids going back to school once they get the opportunity, just like everybody else, to get protected. From our family point of view, over the last couple of months, we've been flipping yes, no, depends, we're not sure, and we've never been 100% certain that sending our kids back to school was the right decision. Some days is a definite no, some days is a maybe, some days is a maybe we should, but at no stage have we ever been 100% confident that we want to send them back. Here lies the conundrum. Now, for those families, for those parents who are in the same boat as us, there is currently no provision for us to keep our kids home unless you go through the process of applying for them to have homeschooling, which I've had a look at the website. There's loads of paperwork, and I really don't want to get into any of that shit right now unless we have to. The party line has been, if your kids don't go to school, they must either have a medical certificate or they will be marked absent without an explanation. And whether that reflects in their academic records or not is the question that no one's asked and no one's prepared to answer. There's been no kind of willingness to share with us about too much stuff. You get this standard departmental email which says they're taking in consideration the safety of the children by doing this cohorting thing where kids can only hang out with their class or their year. There's staggered lunchtime, staggered start and stop, no assemblies, no excursions, no sport, yada yada yada. But their plan of ventilating the classrooms right now is to have the windows open. There's been no talk about air purification. There's been no talk about anything else. Opening the windows in the middle of summer when there's a bushfire doesn't seem to make a lot of sense to me. And there is no mandatory requirement for primary school children to wear face masks. So what we'll probably be doing is going to tell our kid to sit as close to the window as possible and stick their head out the window for the duration of the class, which is really that conducive to learning anyway. And I know that there's going to be people who don't agree with me, which is fine, but I'm just doing what I think is best for our children. The fact that I've read anecdotally that there have been parents in different schools who have volunteered to pay for purification systems and been rejected by the school kind of makes me think that the department does not want to get involved in any of this, and they've just been told based on the politics. And we have to remember that our Premier has never worked as a healthcare worker. They have no experience in treatment of any infectious diseases of any sort. And our current Premier is actually, by and large, ignoring the advice of the Chief Health Officer, which scares the shit out of me when it comes to safety for our kids when they go back to school. And this whole cohorting thing that they're talking about, where kids are limited to the people they hang out with. You try telling your 9-year-old kid to make sure they leave a mask on, don't share the packet of Maltesers that their friend have, and don't go running over to your friend who you haven't seen for 4 months and give them a hug because we're cohorting. Do you really think that's going to work? So just in conclusion, we've kind of made a decision for our family is what we're going to do. And if we decide that, and if it is our decision that we're going to send our kids back, make no mistake, the minute we sniff anything dodgy, the minute we're worried about anything, because we're still currently in Sydney getting 300 to 400 cases a day, and in Victoria they're getting 2,000 cases a day. If there's any concern that things aren't going right at school, we're going to pull them straight out, and damn the consequences of that. What are they going to do? It's going to be a play by ear every day, and hopefully the government will announce the fact that our kids can get vaccinated soon, and then we will be able to make a better decision, because everyone who wants the vaccine will have had the opportunity to get the vaccine, and if you choose not to, that's your decision. But right now, our kids are not given the option that everyone else gets. So we want to send our kids back to school, but we're not going to give them the tools that the adults and older kids have to get on with their lives. It makes no sense to me, and I'm actually, in a way, really disappointed that I've had to make this video. But I've just wanted to be here and say something before school actually starts. So history is going to prove this is going to be all okay, or it's going to prove that it's not, and only time is going to tell. But all I want to say to you guys right now is that make the decision that you think is right for your family, and make the decision that you think is right for your children. Some kids aren't going to thrive being at school right now, and some kids are, and it's just a reality, and you're just going to have to be very flexible. You're going to be understanding, and you have to be willing to make whatever decision, no matter how hard it is, to do what is right for your kids. And if it's not aligned with the agenda of the politicians or the Department of Education, I think you need to do what is right, and we're going to do that, and we're going to play it by ear, and we're going to decide on a daily basis, I guess, based on the current situation and the numbers and how we feel and whether there's any potential cases in our area, and we're going to make the decision then whether we're going to send our kids back to school. We've already explained to our kids that for the rest of the year our aim is just to have fun, try and enjoy things and stay safe, and the academic part of it is secondary. because, you know, we're trying to base everything back to the fact that we have to achieve academic progress here, but kids aren't going to learn anything when they get sick. So that's it. That's the end of this video. Please leave a comment if you have anything to share, but as I said, please leave it nicely. And as usual, if you like my videos, please remember to give me a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button so you'll be notified of any future videos that I make. And I look forward to seeing you again in another video real soon. Stay safe, take care of your kids. They're the most important thing right now. And until next time, have a great weekend. See you later. Bye.